Well, hello and welcome back to the RC Barn. If you are a returning viewer, thanks for coming back. And if you are new to the channel, please stick around for a few moments here. I'll tell you a little bit about the channel here. My name is Mike. I'm the host of this channel. We do pretty much traditional builds and scratch builds on this channel, hints and tips, and I get really in depth with my videos. So if you're just learning or if you're wanting to get into building, this is the channel for you because we can show you a lot of stuff, with building and that. But we also do restorations, vitalizations, repair videos, stuff like that. It's kind of whatever during the summer months, whatever I feel like getting put up. Usually some quick builds and stuff like that. We save the winter months for the bigger builds. That'll be coming up soon, like with the cauldron coming up. I got some really big plans sitting over there right now that's going to be coming here in the next few weeks. So anyways, today, as you know, if you looked at the title, this is another revive and fly. Now the whole point of these series of videos is to get these used planes, show you how to go through them, make sure they're safe to fly, not necessarily do a restoration on the plane, but maybe get something that's older or that has been sitting around for a long time back up in the air. You know, we're not really too worried about the aesthetics of it. We're going to reuse motors that are mounted on it. We're going to check servos out, make sure they're good, and we're going to attempt to get a few flights on these. Now, if they work, if they fly really good and we enjoy them, and then we want to make them prettier, maybe do a recovering job, maybe make some changes down the road, motor changes, and that's something that we could do over the winter time. So these are definitely budget-friendly builds. As far as the title goes, yep, we're going to be working on a P-51 Mustang here. So you guys have been seeing this thing float around in the background for quite a while. I did pick this up at Dynamic Balsa in Lenore, Illinois. If you have not seen that guided tour of that yet, you should go back and check that out. That was a pretty popular video from a few months ago. So I'm going to be above honest with pricing on this. Now, this plane I purchased for $250. So that's where we're at in the build. It did come with servos, it came with a motor, but it did have some damage to it. So this one's going to be a little bit more in-depth as far as repair work goes than what the last one was with the Ultimate. It's still sitting over there. It will be coming back. It's going to fly. I just got to get a better motor for it. This guy here. So let's just look and see what we got. Let's go ahead and go through our checklist here and see what we got going on. Now, it's always a good idea to get onto the Google machine and check to see what you actually have. Now, this is after doing some research and looking at pictures, because nobody was quite sure what this was, that this is a world's model. Now, this would have been a Miss America ARF, 80.5-inch wingspan. Would have been 160 two-stroke, 180 four-stroke powered. The difference between this 80.5-inch giant scale Mustang and the one that was like more of a fighter would have been the one that was set up for, like combat and stuff, would have had flaps. This one does not have flaps. It's the only real difference that I can see between the two. Somebody definitely took off all the stars and the emblems in here and was in love with Pepsi. And yep, Britny back there. They're gonna stay on there for the flight, for this initial test flight and stuff. We're gonna leave everything the way it is. It's got JR servos on it. I have no idea what specs they are. We're gonna look that up. She's got an OS 160 FX in the nose. I think that's probably a good power point for this because that's what they called for. I got on Google and Googled information about this engine, and it seemed like an 18.6 to an 18.8 prop was pretty common. Did not come with a prop. I do have the spinner, and that's an 18-inch prop in there. Now, this is an 18.8 wide. This is a spare for another airplane that I have never used. So we're going to stick this on there. Some guys really like this prop for the pulling of it and the speed of it. And I know that prop's a stunt puller. I had it on a 180 Moki. So Anyways, motor's locked up. We're gonna go through that. We're gonna figure out what we got for servos. And as far as damage goes, I don't know if this happened in the travel back here or not, but she got a little wet, and we got a bulge here. Okay, so we're gonna have to strip some of this covering back, which it's already falling apart. You can see where that bulge is. So we're gonna have to get rid of that and recover this part of the fuselage, because like I said, some of it's a little loose. Now, the initial checks that you want to do on a plane, especially one this big, is that you're not sure of. You know, what do we have for hinges? Are our hinges okay? Let's see, so right elevator. I'm gonna give a good tug on this stuff. Make sure they're not gonna pull out. That sounds pretty good. Rudder. You don't want to lose any of this stuff on an initial flight. You don't know. You have no idea how long this plane's been sitting around for. Tail wheel is flat spotted, but looks okay. Moves. We got pulls on here. Nothing's really rusted. We have dual elevator servos in the back. We'll get into more of that in a little bit. This did have a battery in it. This thing is completely dead, and it's showing its age too. I don't know if some of the old guys might remember these guys. These are lithium ion batteries. These were real popular in the late 90s. Yeah, good chance that that's where this is. That's when this was built, was late 90s. So let's get you back over here. And what I'm going to do, I've already Googled a couple of these once, and I know they're pretty strong servos. I mean, they're old, but they're good. Fast forward through this part. Okay, I went ahead and I Googled. I'm not going to be able to really show you too much on this servo. This is a JR NES 4735 on rudder. So we Googled that. I really like servo database because it really tells you everything you want to know. So this is an analog servo. It is 90 inch ounces at 4.8 volt. Okay. There's that guy. So that's definitely strong enough for what we're doing. It's a plastic gear servo, so it's no metal gear or anything like that. We're not too worried about the throttle or the retract valve. So let's see what we got. NES 531. Okay, NES 531 is an analog servo, and on 4.8 volt, it's 51 inch ounces. Again, probably plenty strong for what we're going to be doing with this thing. Okay, right now. So, what does that mean? Well, it ain't showing me any more on that. So let's go NES 531 servo, 6 volt question mark. Let's see what we find here. That's RCU. Not really finding a whole lot of information. And there's a reason why it doesn't have a 6 volt setup on it. Now, a lot of these old servos were 4.8 only. So, what do we got here? Let me get you over here. This guy is plugged in to the on-off switch, right? What's that? That's a voltage regulator. Probably takes it from I think that was 7.4 volts down to 4.8. We're probably going to want to keep that in there. Okay. So, because I don't have a 4.8 pack, I'm going to have a 6-volt pack. That old Duralite on there battery is not going to, isn't any good anymore. So we're going to have to switch batteries, which is always a good idea. So, just like the other one, what we're going to do is we're going to go through this from front to back. Fuel tank, fuel lines feel okay. That tank is going to be a nightmare to get in and out of there, but it is doable if we end up having a problem with it on test running. So we're going to get the motor broke free. We're going to inspect the fuel line and then the fuel tank. The fuel tank doesn't have any, it doesn't look bad in there. Let me show you what we got going on the inside here. See, that tank does not look bad. This motor's definitely been ran, but that's actually not bad. I got mufflers, Bison mufflers that look far worse than that, and they got gallons and gallons and gallons of fuel through them. So if this is a fairly new build, let's flip this back over. I know there's not much to do on the fuel on the wings, so we're not going to really show them too much, but we will have to check the retract system. This looks like an old Dubro fuel valve right here. See, we'll have to see if that works. These are rebuildable. Otherwise, I think I have another one. Otherwise, we can do something different. The fuel lines are right up here at the front. That's a pretty typical World Models thing, is to do that. Now, that looks a little suspect, but again, not bad. It's pliable. It's not all hard and brittle, not like it was on the Ultimate. This motor probably hasn't got a lot of use on it, but she is blocked up. We'll address that in a minute. So then we're gonna, once we get that done, we'll get a receiver in here, power that up. We're gonna fix that. That won't take very much time. So goals here tonight. I'm gonna get this unlocked and get the prop drilled for that, and get that thing moving, get some oil in it. It's just caster gummed up. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to repair that guy down there, and maybe I can get that done tomorrow when I get off work, if Steve don't keep me too terribly long. My goal is by Tuesday night, or by Monday night or Tuesday night, to get this thing outside and get some fuel ran through it. These are not inexpensive engines to run, so they do take 15% nitro, unlike the Mokies. They're pretty high nitro content, 18% oil, so we're going to run our 15% mixture there, and we'll get this thing fired up and running, hopefully. And then from there, we'll check the retract system, which is, obviously part in the wings. I want to make sure those are working. And if you give me a minute, I'm going to flip it over here. There we go. Do have the cowl, just have it off at the moment. So retract. So we got an air tank right here. I'm assuming a lot of this is probably kind of Robart. That's Robart line for sure. But I've never seen an on-off switch like that. So that's your up and down. We'll have to figure that guy out. There's the throttle servo. Now, dual elevator servo back in the day. Kind of showing the age here that this thing's got a reverser in it. So if you didn't have a reverser and you had to plug that into a Y harness, one had to be up and one had to be down. So that way mechanically they went in the same direction, because you couldn't flop them computer. So and that resulted in bad geometry for dual elevator servos. So what they would do is they would put a reverser in, and that's what this guy is right here. Now we have better technology now, and that's something that we could definitely change. I got plans for this thing. I just want to get it up there and see how it flies. And then it is missing some stuff. It's missing the scoop, so that's not going to be on for the initial flights, because I'm not going to build one. And then but yeah, so but we'll probably be running this. I also have one of these in my linear cap, and hasn't given no problem. So yeah, we're gonna make all this work. We're gonna make sure those retracts go up and down like they should. Now this is gonna be an air up, spring down setup because it's only got one line coming out of it. Those are definitely Robart fittings. So we do have some Robart stuff in here, but that is not a Robart tank. It's too small. So yeah, anyways, we're gonna get all this gone through. We'll do that real quick, and then so anyways, I'll bring it right back, and I'm gonna get set up, and we're gonna start getting that motor popping here. All right, so our first bet is to take the glow plug out because we don't want to be fighting compression while we're doing this. And let's see what kind of plug is in it and whether or not it is actually working. So first problem is, yep, there, oh no, there it is there. Make sure there's a gasket there. This definitely looks like an OS plug. Oh yeah, OS. He's got the right plug in it, so we're definitely dealing with an experienced modeler here. And I kind of know that because remember when I talked about putting I-rod in your cowlings for your bolts? Well, this has got it in every spot going all the way around. So, yeah. We definitely got a light low there. Good. Okay, so that's a good plug. Ding. OSF plugs are not cheap anymore. I mean, they're like 14 bucks a piece, so, you know, if it's good, you know, it ain't going to go bad from age. So we got, of course, the first thing I don't like is a Z-bend up here on the nose. So we're going to get let's see if I got the right size Allen. Yep. I'm going to loosen that up. That way this will work. So we got the neo valve, or the carburetors closed completely. And the best way, now this motor, you could tear it apart and do all that, but I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to get these things revitalized. And it starts with a little bit of fuel. Okay, pump a little down in the crankcase, and then we're going to go ahead and fill this guy up. Not much. It doesn't take much. It's caster. That's all it is. It's just caster. Heat gun, right? If you ain't got a monocoque one, get you a heat gun from Harbor Freight if you're not doing any covering. If you're doing covering, you should already have one of these. So we're just going to start heating this bad boy up. Okay? And it's going to take a lot of heat to get things warmed up, but eventually we're going to work around head. Not sure if it's the pistons at the top or at the bottom. We're just going to start heating some of this stuff up. Now if you get it hot, real hot, you might see some smoke coming out of the top. That's okay. You want to get it warm. You want to kind of get it up to operating temperature. You know, and it's going to, what's happened is that caster that's in the fuel has gummed the engine up because it's been sitting for so long. As caster ages, it does this, it varnishes things, which I know a lot of guys say, that's why I don't put caster in my engines. Caster also has good positive because as long as it's still in this, it's not rusting your bearings. And it's also, caster gives you a lot more protection from lean runs than a full synthetic does. So that's why if you watch my videos on mix and feel, you will see in there to add some caster in your oil mixes. Right, let's see. We're not hot yet. Be careful while you're. Oh, look at that. There we go. Just like that, she's broke free. It doesn't take much. And we're pretty warm in there. Okay, so there's that. And I mean, she'll loosen up a little bit as we get some fuel run through her. Let's see if we can. Do not force these. You don't want to break these parts. Some of these parts for these engines, and I'm not sure on the 160 if it's they're how available they are anymore. You don't want to break these plastic throttle arms and stuff like that while you're trying to. Don't force nothing. If you gotta force it, it ain't right. Now, as things heat up here, it's going to start going away. It's going to start sucking it down in there because things are starting to heat up a little bit and they're expanding. So we're going to heat this carburetor body up to the point to where there ain't no more feeling that corrode anymore. Okay. She's getting there. She's starting to stop getting big time now. I think it just moved a little bit. I'm just gonna very gently get in here. I know you can't see much. I apologize. I gotta get some more holes in my workbench, I guess. Oh, there she went. Piece of cake, right? Look at that. Okay. We could, in theory, put fuel in this thing, put the glow plug back in, put a prop on it, and go fire this up right now. And I mean, this thing does not have any runtime on it. Now I see a little bit of gunk down in the carburetor, and that's just probably built up caster. I like these guys. I don't know where the wife got them, but they're pretty handy. It ain't much, but I just cleaned that top off. And don't be surprised if after you do this, now if this thing was all corroded and that in there, yeah, let me get you closer. Now if that thing was all corroded in there, I would be taking this apart and running some really light 3000 grit sandpaper across there to get rid of that. But this guy wasn't bad. So we're just going to leave it a little partially open in case it sticks again. Okay. And definitely would be easier with a prop on there, but we got to get some fuel run through this thing if we want to save this, you know, stop it from happening again. I shouldn't say save it because it's not going to damage the motor. It's just more of an inconvenience that, you know, that it does that. That's all you got to do. See, it's already feeling real good. The test will be when it's cooled off. Yeah, probably going to need a prop on it though, so we'll do that next. Now we could take this engine off, we could clean it all up, make it look brand new and shiny, but that's not the point of these builds. The point of these builds is to work with what you have and not have to do any more than what you have to do, if that makes any sense. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and drill this prop out. Boy, that's a big spinner, isn't it? That's an 18-inch prop, and probably ain't but 5 inches sticking out of each side. So, yeah, 5 1/4 I think on that. So anyways, I'm going to drill that out. We'll get the prop put on there and all that. And then next up will be, I'm going to leave the fuel system alone. I'm going to see if I got a filler for that. I'm pretty sure that's a Dubro guy, so we'll have to see if I got one that'll open that up and so we can pump some fuel into it. So anyways, next up, we'll get a radio in it, get that hooked up, and start working on the damage over there. Alright, I jumped ahead a little bit here. Like I said in the last clip, we got the motor spinning over. I charged the battery overnight. Yep, this it is the next day, and everything seems to be working just fine in there. I think my battery was fully charged, but last night I was sitting here messing with it, and after about 5 minutes it died. I mean, it went from like 6 volts to nothing. And I think the end point on that, because that retract was buzzing really bad, and I set the end points on it so it wasn't buzzing so loud. So anyways, I moved back here. I'm trying to decide on whether or not I want to turn this into a hatch. Now, why would I want to turn this into a hatch? Well, I got a few clues here. And down there he had the battery. You can see the Velcro and stuff down in there. That tells me that he was in a nose heavy nose heavy configuration. If he had to put the battery back here, he's got a long extension. So if I put a hatch here, which I'm cutting this apart anyways, this is what balsa wood happens when it gets wet, and it's hard to really straighten that out without it popping up or, you know, breaking like it just did. So just cut that out and found some scrap here that will fit just fine up in here. So I'm working on that right now. This is just typical sheeting stuff, you know, cut it out and make it fit. I got some pretty good sized blocks here, and I could put a lip underneath here and put nye rod down in this balsa wood to screw screws down to. And basically you would never see it, because once we get, I'm not going to build it now, but once the scoop would get built, it would be all covered up, and the scoop will probably get bolted in place anyways. I'm sure that was an ARF thing to make shipping easier, but we'll have to see if that's viable or not to bolt it back on. But anyways, I think I just talked myself into doing that, because if this thing's in a nose heavy configuration and we got to put the battery back here where it was at originally, that might help not have to add a lot of weight to it. So yeah, so what I'll do is once I get this glued together, cut and fit it nice, I'll put a tongue here, plywood tongue across here to grab it, and then 2 screws there with some nye rod, you know, the yellow nye rod you put down in there so the screws will pick up, have something to bite into. Can't really drill, you know, put self tappers and balsa. So yeah, anyways, that's where I'm at. I did get the wings down, or the wing. Now this is in halves, but there again, it's an ARF deal. They're supposed to stay together. It's got little tabs down there to bolt it together, and then the wing tube is right there. So we might be able to make it pull apart just to make it easier. It's an 80-inch wingspan, so not that big of a deal if we don't. But I did get the other one brought out here. I think it was on this one actually. Yep. And I got some ice damage on the extensions. This one's cut too, so I'm gonna have to dig the ailerons out, servos out, and inspect all that wiring and see where it's at, and see if it's any of else is damaged, if we got to do some rewiring, or definitely gonna have to put some new extensions in there. So yeah, anyways, that's where I'm at. Thought I'd give you a quick little update here. Hopefully let's see, today's Monday. Hopefully tomorrow we can see about doing a test run on that. I think we're pretty close. All right, so I think we left off on this project. It's been a 3 weeks since I've worked on it, because we were doing the reviving, or the 2 builds and 2 weekend build. If you haven't went out back and seen that, go check it out. It come out pretty nice. And as of this recording, they have not flown yet. But anyhow, where we're at on here, I got all the servos reinstalled. I ripped all the old JR servos that were in it and reinstalled new ones. I have my 635 HB on rudder, a little extra torque there, and then we went with the HS422 Hitech Deluxe servos. They're all installed, but I thought I'd show this real quick. Now, these world models, I'm not scared to own these and fly these, because, I mean, every single one I've ever owned has always done me good. And in fact, I got another one coming here pretty shortly. The only thing that I don't like about world models is sometimes their hardware. These are the blind nuts that hold the wing mounting bolts down, and they would have had some kind of metric thread that go down in there. The nice thing about world models is they definitely beef things up where you need to. I mean, this has got plywood all around it. It looks like it's epoxied in. That's to be determined. But anyways, a quick way to update these ARFs is to take those out, drill your holes out for 1/4 inch, and put 1/4 20 nylons in. you have a bad landing with one of these things and you got steel bolts in there, you're going to rip this whole undercarriage out, and then you got major repairs. If you just break nylon bolts, yeah, you might have some repairs, but you're not going to rip the fuselage apart. So what I do is I drill those out for 1/4 inch. I leave these alone. I get a 1/4 20 tap and I drill it out, okay, or tap it. And see my threads here. Now there is balsa wood here. This is plywood, but it's not a bad idea to go ahead and, you know, apply some thin CA to your dramatic recreation here. To your threads. Let that dry thoroughly. Give it a couple minutes, 5 minutes or whatever, and then go back through and chase the glue out of the threads, and that way you're hardening your threads up and you will have no problems with this. So anyways, Britney's coming along. Yep, that's what we're going to call her, Britney. She ain't going to stay in this form for very long. Hopefully the next video is maybe trying to fire that guy up right there. It's a pretty crappy day though. Gonna have to do it in the garage. Anyways, I'll bring you back here in a little bit. Oh, hardly any compression. I don't know if this will be enough or not. Fired for a second.
Well, at least it ran.
Yeah, that's running. Is he getting any compression back?
What?
Not hardly.
Yeah.
Ring still ain't, has a ring is stuck. That is so weird. I got the plane. Step off.
Look, Mom, no hands. Look, Mom, no hands.
Point toward me. Well, there you have it, sitting for a really long time. Really low on compression at first. Let's see where we're at now. It's coming back, but I could before I couldn't even. I'd hit it with a screwdriver and it was like nothing there. So, anyways, it runs. It pulls really strong. It sounds really good. We got all the gunk blowing out of it. Probably another tank full through it on the ground before we commit it to the air, just to get maybe the ring seated a little bit more, whatnot. But anyways, thank you everybody for watching, and hopefully in the next segment we'll be out test flying.
Yeah.
I didn't mention it. This is the main voice.
Well, I assumed it was because I heard a lot of tramp.
That looks pretty good.
Didn't you come to our pro, bro?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Will you come over here and give me a couple more clicks of down, please? Down elevator.
Yeah. One more? Or was that you getting?
Yeah, I'm getting it. That's better. I'm like, just a little much that was uncomfortable reaching over it. I appreciate it. Oh, wow, the fly's really good.
I've got a smaller one. I love it.
This is old models.
That's what mine is. Mine's a 45.
This has got an RS60 FX on it. It's actually part of my YouTube series of diving flies, and so this was like I started it like a month ago, and I played. That's a little twitchy on the elevator. I think it's still a little. It was really tail heavy.
It don't look like it is now. It looks like it's pretty.
I'm barely giving it any elevator to.
I'm just gonna roll that stuff.
That one seems to be good.
Could be holding this bullet and see if it needs any elevator. Hands off.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not very good at it.
Yeah, that's all good. It might be a little tail heavy. You should have to give it a little bit of damage.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's cool. It may nose over on you when you land it because of there's small tires and there's tall grass. It won't hurt. Don't be surprised if you
Yeah, it doesn't take much elevator to get it to yank and bank.
Yeah. Looks like you maybe need a little more fat.
I got an 18.8 white on it. Oh, what am I doing? I got an 18.8 white on it right now. Oh, 18. I'm landing. Whoa, what are you doing there? That's a glitch. Landing!
Landing!
All right, so you just watched the maiden voyage on the P-51 Mustang from World Models. I see I skipped around a little bit in there. I did end up replacing all of the servos because I found two bad ones in the ailerons. The cords were cut real short. There was no saving them. With them being 4.8 volt only, getting 4.8 only servos in this day and age are near impossible. So that's why I ended up changing all the servos out with the hitechs and putting a 6-volt pack in it. So anyways, main voyage went really well. Elevator is super sensitive, so I think I'm going to take some tail weight out of it. It usually indicates a tail heavy condition. So remember, the more tail heavy you are, the more sensitive your controls are going to be. Not that it's unflyable, but it's a little on the uncomfortable side too. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed all that. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Later.